Good evening, students. Good evening, students. So, in the last class, we studied the concept of control and coordination, right? In today's class, we are going to discuss the concept of how do organisms reproduce. Okay. Heredity and evolution, Vinuta ma'am have already finished. Okay. So how do organisms, even the chapter I tandre major biology concepts will be covered. Later on, we can concentrate more on chemistry and physics topic because physics two main topics ಇದೆ. Periodic classification of elements ಮತ್ತೆ carbon and its compounds. It needs lot of time to understand. Okay. So that is why ಆ ಒಂದು ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ periodic classification of elements ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ಲೋ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, that session will go slowly. So that is why I am completing the biology concepts. Then we can concentrate on our chemistry as well as physics concept. Physics alone one important topic is the magnetic effect of electric current. That also we can cover easily. Okay, yeah. Okay. So how do organisms reproduce? In the biology, first chapter we learned is life process. Yes. Yes, dear boys and girls, first we studied life process. In the life process, which all processes we studied, can you just list out? ಯಾವ ಕ್ರಿಯೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕಲಿತ್ವಿ ನಾವು ಲೈಫ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? Yeah. Digestion, that is nothing but nutrition. Very good. Respiration, Prajwal. Respiration, he said. Then excretion, very good. Yes, Uma Shankar, excretion. Then photosynthesis we learned. Then we learned about the main thing. Yes, Shri Ram. Usha Manya, very good. So, circulation, nutrition, respiration, excretion, and circulation we learned. So, these processes are called as life processes. Why? Because without these processes, a living organisms cannot live, cannot experience their life. Okay, that is why these processes are considered as life processes. Fine. Then after this, while discussing this chapter only, I asked you a question. Why reproduction? Why reproduction is not considered as a life process? Can anyone tell me? Why? Yes, who is that? Asha, Bhavya, okay, Lakshmi, transportation, yeah. Holozoic nutrition, Hanamappa, yeah, we learned this. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, Shrikant Gowda, Spurti, we learned about heart, yeah, Pratima Gowda. Reproduction ನಾವು consider ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ life process ಅಲ್ಲಿ, okay na? So, why reproduction is not considered as a life process? Can anyone tell me why it is considered as a life process? Yes, autotrophic, heterotrophic nutrition we learned, Rishika. Very good. Very good. Dhruva answered it correctly. Without reproduction also, a living organism can lead the life. Life process is not a compulsory process. So it is, see, if a organism, any organism you take, if a organism do not reproduce, okay, it will not die. But if an organism cannot get nutrition, if an organism cannot respire, if an organism cannot excrete, okay, then it may die. It may not live. That is why these are considered as life processes. Okay. Then we have reproduction. Reproduction means what? It is a necessary process. It is not a life process. It is a necessary process. Why it is considered as a necessary process? Because why it is needed? Because to continue the race. To continue the race, we need this reproduction. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ವಂಶವನ್ನ ಮುಂದುವರಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ. For example, see, all the dogs or all the cats stopped reproducing from now. So after few years, you cannot see any cats or any dogs. ಯಾಕೆ? Reproduction ಇಲ್ವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. There is no continue of the race. Race ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಂಶ ಅಂತ. ವಂಶಾವಳಿ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. That is why reproduction is necessary process ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಹುದು. So how do organisms reproduce? So ಇಲ್ಲಿ organisms ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ, here it is not only concerned with the human beings. It is concerned with the microorganisms also. Usually microorganisms, we saw unicellular organisms, right? It is concerned with plants also. It is concerned with animals, or we can say human beings also. Fine. So how do organisms reproduce? In all the things we are going to see this, how do organisms reproduce? Okay. Now let us begin. Concentrate important terminologies. Andre tumba terms ಗಳು ಬರ್ತವೆ ಈ ಪಾಠದಲ್ಲಿ. I'm sorry. Yeah. The first definition is reproduction. What is that reproduction is? It is nothing but giving birth to young ones. What kind of young ones? The young ones should be similar to the parents. See, rose seeds, ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಪಪಾಯ ಸೀಡ್ಸು ಅಥವಾ ಸೂರ್ಯಕಾಂತಿ ಬೀಜದ ಸೀಡು ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಸೋ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದಟ್ ಸೂರ್ಯಕಾಂತಿ ಓನ್ಲಿ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದಟ್ ರೋಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ರೋಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ವೆಜಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಪ್ರೊಪಗೇಷನ್ ಕಾಂಡದಿಂದನೂ ಕೂಡ ಬೆಳಿಬಹುದು. ಹೌದಾ? ಆಪಲ್ ಸೀಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸೋ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಪಲ್ ಟ್ರೀನೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, dog will give birth to dog only. Cat will give birth to cat only. So, yavaga one individual will give birth to the other new individual, which is of the same species, which is of the same kind. So, that is called as what? Reproduction. It is the process by which organisms produce new individuals of the same species. Dog will not give birth to cat. Cat will not give birth to tiger. Okay, cub of a tiger, right? So, same species. So, this terminology is, or this term is necessary. Okay, next. Reproduction is necessary for a living organism because it ensures continuity of a species. As I said, continuity of the race. ವಂಶವನ್ನ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ. And prevents them from becoming extinct means what? No more organisms will be there. ಆ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಂತ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟಿಂಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಡೈನೋಸಾರ್ಸ್ ಮೊದಲಿಗಿದ್ವು, ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ಡೈನೋಸಾರ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟಿಂಕ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ವಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಟ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ರೈಟ್ ನೌ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ reproduction is necessary. Next. Do the organisms create carbon copies of themselves? As I said you earlier, my dear boys and girls, dog will give birth to dog, human being will give birth to human being, apple seed will give birth to apple tree only. So, how the organism give birth to the same kind of organism? Carbon copy, or we can say Xerox copy of the same species. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ? ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಬರ್ತ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ? ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಅವರ್ DNA molecule. See, suppose if you take this is a man, okay? Man is made up of cells. Cell ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? In the cell we have nucleus, which is a monitor of a cell, which is a brain of a cell, which controls the activity of a cell. ಒಂದು cell ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು nucleus ಇದೆ. In the nucleus, we have a coiled-like structure which is called DNA, or we have a thread-like structures which are called as chromosomes. Chromosomes galive. In these chromosomes, we have a segments, active segments. Those active segments are called as DNA. So these DNA will be the molecules which are present in the chromosomes. Chromosomes are present in the nucleus of a cell. See here, you can see the statement. The DNA molecule in the chromosome in the nucleus is responsible for transfer of characters from parents to offsprings. Okay. So, how our character, for example, ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಮನೇಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ನಿನ್ನ ಅಪ್ಪನ ತರ ಇದೆಯಾ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಮ್ಮನ ತರ ಇದೆಯಾ, ನಿನ್ ಮೂಗು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪನ ತರ ಇದೆ, ಕಣ್ಣು ಅಮ್ಮನ ತರ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಹೌ ದೀಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್. ಸಮ್ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮೈಕಟ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಜ್ಜನ್ ತರ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಹೌ ದೀಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಟು ಜನರೇಷನ್? It is due to the special kind of a molecule which is called as DNA molecule. Can anyone tell me the full form of DNA? K. Manish. Cat give birth to dog by the process of hybridization. Hybridization in the cat dog ಗೆ ಕೊಡೋಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ನೀನ್ ಹೇಳೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಡಾಂಕಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಾರ್ಸ್, ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ಲಿ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್. ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗಿ. ಕ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್, ಜೀನಸ್ಸೇ ಬೇರೆ, ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸೇ ಬೇರೆ. ಅದರದ್ದು ಡಾಗ್ದು ಜೀನಸ್ಸೇ ಬೇರೆ, ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸೇ ಬೇರೆ. ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ಲಿ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಆನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಆಸ್ ಯು ಸೆಡ್ ಹೈಬ್ರಿಡೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಕೆ ಮನೀಶ್. ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಹೈಬ್ರಿಡೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ವಿ ಗಾಟ್ ಅನ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ನೇಮ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಮ್ಯೂಲ್, which had a characteristics of donkey also, which had a characteristics of horse also. But the thing is, mule was sterile. Sterile andre eno? It does not have a capacity to reproduce anta. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಮ್ಯೂಲ್ ರೀಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡತ್ತೆ? ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ ಹೈಬ್ರಿಡೈಸೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಔಟ್. Hybridization in animals ಅಲ್ಲಿ it is still in process, what we can call. Successful rate ಆಗೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ. I hope you understood my point, K. Manish. Okay. Yeah. ಏನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? DNA full form. Can anyone tell me? Yes, Uma Shankar answered it. Deoxyribonucleic acid. Very good. Deoxyribonucleic acid. Just a minute. ಓಕೆ ಗೈಸ್, ಸೊ ಡಿಆಕ್ಸಿರೈಬೋನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? Okay. So DNA is the information source for making proteins. So what is the function of DNA? It has an information of what? To make the proteins. If the information is changes, different proteins will be made. It leads to change in the body designs. Wow. See here how actually it works. For example, ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, some of the people or your relatives will say you are like your father, your nose is like your father, your eyes is like your mother, but you are not exactly the Xerox copy. Very rarely ditto antar ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, Xerox copy ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ನೀವು, ultimate Xerox copy ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. There will be certain differences. ಆ differences ಗೆ we will call it as variations. Okay, so what actually happens? This DNA is there, no? Uma Shankar told. What Uma Shankar told? Uma Shankar told the full form of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. Very good. So DNA in ಮಾಡತ್ತೆ? DNA will be having the information. What information it has? It has the information to make the proteins, which will take care of the activities in the organism's body. Okay, but this DNA information, if this information changes, see here, if this information changes, the protein will change. If the protein changes, the character will change. Means It will cause the differences between parents and offsprings. Certain proteins will remain same. So that characteristic will remain same. Certain protein will change. Why it will change? Due to change in the information from the DNA. See, in the WhatsApp, you will be messaging your friend, right? So, if the information or if your language is not correct, it will be delivered. First, deliver ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು, edit ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬರ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. But now, we have an option of editing. But ಇಲ್ಲ ಹಾಗಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದ್ಸಲ information change ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ protein change ಆಗ್ಬಿಡತ್ತೆ. Characteristics will also change. That is why we have certain different characters. ವಿಭಿನ್ನವಾದ ಗುಣಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳನ್ನ ಹೊಂದಿರ್ತೇವೆ, which we cannot observe in our parents. We have that will be our own characters. It is due to change in our proteins. Okay. Then, yeah. The reproducing cell creates 2 DNA copies and additional cellular apparatus. Then they separate and divides into 2. In each process of DNA copying, some variations created. As a result, DNA copies will be similar but not identical to the original. So actually what happens here, reproducing cell anta, we will learn it later. Reproducing cells anta irutte, usually the gametes. So these gametes will be having the 2 DNA copies. And it will be having during the production of gametes, gametes alle alla, production of gametes alli, production of reproductive cells alli, okay na? So avaga 2 DNA copies will be there. So these copies along with additional cellular apparatus, andre 2 mitochondria, 2 nuclei, ee thara. Then they separate, divide ಆಗ್ತವೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಈಗ 46 ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದು ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ 23 ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ 23 ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಹೌ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್, ನೋ, like this only all the cellular apparatus, whatever we can say mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. In each process, DNA copying. So in this again, DNA copying will takes place where DNA information changes and new proteins will be produced. So this we will discuss in detail in upcoming slides. Next. The next one is importance of variation. So what do you mean by variations? Variations anta andre the differences, or we can say the dissimilarities. Okay. So the dissimilarities between the dissimilarities between parents and offsprings, what we can say. See, consistent DNA copying maintains body design. It helps the organism to use particular niche. So reproduction is linked to the stability of population of species. So what happens here? That niches can change due to many reasons. Yaudukke? Change in temperature or water level. For example, see, whenever you born, when you born, the environment was different. When I was born, the environment was different. Okay, when your parents were born, the environment was different. To adjust to the environment, variations are necessary. Okay, so because the environmental changes, temperature changes, water level, pollution level, okay, and the oxygen level, it changes according to the days, according to the ages. That is why variations are necessary to adjust to the changing environment. So this is about importance of variation. Then we have modes of reproduction. Modes means we can say types of reproduction anta. So there are mainly 2 types of reproduction. The first one is sexual reproduction. The second one is asexual reproduction. Okay. Okay, fine. So the first one is sexual reproduction. The second one is asexual reproduction we have. So sexual reproduction means what? It involves 2 parents. There will be fusion of gametes, male gamete and a female gamete. 2 separate parents will be there. male parent and female parent. Male parent will produce a male gamete called as sperm, okay, in human beings, and female will produce ova or a egg. So, and there will be a fusion of the gametes. So, this is called as what? Sexual reproduction. Here we can see variations. Here we can see variations. Next, we have asexual reproduction. Okay, so it involves creation of individual by single organism. For example, we will study it in amoeba only. So amoeba is a unicellular organism. It will be having nucleus, food vacuole, and then contractile vacuole, right? So after some time, what happens? Amoeba will divide like this. We will study it. We have it. Okay, so here only one organism will give rise to two daughter cells, two daughter nuclei. So here what happens? Single parent is involved. Such reproduction is called as asexual reproduction. Next, see types of asexual reproduction we have. We have fission, we have fragmentation, regeneration, budding, vegetative propagation. Then we have spore formation. Okay, fission, asexual reproduction where gametes are not involved. There is no gametes, fusion of gametes. Single parent will give rise to the offsprings. Okay, single parent will be there. So in this, we have okay. So in this case, we have certain types. One by one, we will see. So the first one is here. Fission. As I said, in amoeba, we are going to study. It is the cell division of unicellular organism to form new organism. It is a simple kind of reproduction. It happens in unicellular organism. Unicellular means what? Single-celled, one-celled organism. Okay. So here you can see amoeba. This is a one-celled organism, unicellular organism. It has a nucleus. So at certain time, the nucleus acquired this shape. So here, if this is a amoeba, okay, this is our nucleus, fine. Then after that, what happens? The nucleus will divide like this. Okay, it will, enlarge like this. Then after that, again, it will again form the dumbbell-like shape like this. Then it will divide into two nuclei like this. Okay. So here, what happens? The nucleus division takes place. Then after that, the cytoplasm division takes place. Okay, like this cytoplasm division takes place. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ. Nucleus divide ಆಯ್ತು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ cytoplasm divide ಆಯ್ತು, and then we got two cells. So from one parent, we got two offsprings. Single parent is there. Okay, then we cannot see any fusion of gametes here, right? So that is why such reproduction will come under asexual reproduction. Fission anta yak kariತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ division ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? So it is called fission. See here, from a single parent, two daughter cells we got. Two means what? Bi. Bi means two. Tri means three. Uni means one. ಹೌದಾ? So that is why it is called binary fission. Next, here you can see in this also, in protozoa, I think. Here you can see, this is in euglena. This is in euglena, what you can see, the same thing. Okay. Binary fission. Yeah. Next, we have multiple fission. Binary fission means what? One cell or a one parent, what you can say, unicellular parent, will give rise to two daughter cells. Two daughter cells. Okay. So like this only, two are there. No, so that is why it is called as binary fission. Binary fission. Yeah. Next we have multiple fission. Multiple means many. In this, some single-celled organisms divide into many daughter cells. What happens here? Single-celled organisms. It will be also a unicellular organism. Okay. So it will divide into what? Like this. See, if this is a one cell having one nucleus. So in unfavorable conditions favorable illa anta andaga. So avaga enagatte, this nucleus will divide into many nucleus like this. ಈ ರೀತಿ many nucleus ಆಗಿ divide ಆಗತ್ತೆ. When favorable conditions meet, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ suitable ಆಗುವಂತಹ conditions ದೊರಕಿದ ಮೇಲೆ this will blast. This will blast and each organisms will develop into each nucleus will develop into a new organism. That is why see, multiple means what? Many division takes place to produce many organisms. So this is called as what? Multiple fission. So sexual reproduction alli fission, fragmentation, regeneration ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Fission ಅಲ್ಲಿ two types, binary fission and multiple fission. Next we have is fragmentation. The next sub concept is fragmentation. So all multicellular organisms, multicellular means what? Many celled organisms. Fission ಆಗೋದು unicellular organisms ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. Multicellular organisms ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿ ಫಿಷನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ, ಓಕೆ, ಫಿಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ? ಟಿಶ್ಯೂಸ್ಗಳು ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ ಸೊ reproduction is also performed by specific cell type in this organism. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಟೈಪ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ where organisms are made up of many cells, that is multicellular organisms ಇದ್ದಾಗ, ಓಕೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ? In this organism simply breaks up into smaller pieces or fragments and they grow into a new individual. See here, this is one organism. Okay. This is whole thing is a organism. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಪೈರೋಗೈರಾ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. It is an example of algae. ಈ ಪಾಚಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಶೈವಲಗಳು, ಇನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಶೈವಲಗಳು. ನೀರ್ ಬಿದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಕಲರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಗೆ ದ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಸ್ಪೈರೋಗೈರಾ ಅಂತ. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಸೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಡೈಗ್ರಾಮ್, no, it is ಸ್ಪೈರೋಗೈರಾ. So here it is made up of many cells. This is one cell, this is second cell, and this is third cell, like this. Okay, so here what happens actually, sometimes due to, as these will be in water alva, so due to the waves, due to the what we can say, accidentally when they reach the rock surface, so avaga cells galu enagatte break aagtave. So these broken down cell parts, these cell parts are called as fragments. ಈ ಸೆಲ್ ಏನು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾವಲ್ವಾ, ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಎಸ್, ಸ್ಲಿಪರಿ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು? ಪಲ್ಲವಿ ವೆಂಕಟೇಶ್. ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆಗಳು ಸ್ಲಿಪರಿ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ದೀಸ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಗ್ರೋ ಇನ್ ಟು ಅ ನ್ಯೂ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಮೆಂಟೇಶನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಮೆಂಟೇಶನ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇಸ್ ರೀಜನರೇಷನ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ? ರೀಜನರೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಮೆನಿ ಫುಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಶಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದ ಎಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ರೈಸ್ ಟು ನ್ಯೂ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಸಾರಿ. Many fully differentiated organisms have the ability to give rise to new individual from their body parts. That is, if the individual is somehow, see, let me take here planaria. ಇಲ್ಲೇನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಡೈಗ್ರಾಮೆಟಿಕಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಇದು ಪ್ಲನೇರಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಓಕೆ, it is an example of platyhelminthes. You learnt in 9th standard. Planaria ಫ್ಲಾಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ, if accidentally any part of the planaria, tail region, trunk region or head region, any part of planaria is broken down. So that part will grow into a new individual. See, head part grown into a new individual, trunk part grown into a new individual, tail part will grow into a new individual. Okay, so like this, regeneration. Re means what? Again, generation of the organism from any part of it is called as regeneration. So we learned fission, we learned fragmentation, we learned regeneration. Okay, next. Okay. So can anyone tell me, can anyone give me example for binary fission? Binary fission ಗೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ example ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ? Example for binary fission? Very good. Amoeba. Yes, amoeba. Then example for multiple fission? Multiple fission ಗೆ example? Multiple fission example? Not Hydra. Amoeba. Very good. Nandaraj answered it. It is Plasmodium. Plasmodium which causes malaria. ಈ malaria ಅಂತ ಬರತ್ತಲ್ವಾ, ಅದು ಸೊಳ್ಳೆಯಿಂದ ಬರಲ್ಲ. It will come from this. ಸೊಳ್ಳೆ or the mosquito will transfer the malaria. It is not caused, it is a cause, but actually the disease causing organism is Plasmodium, which will be that mosquito will be having spores of this Plasmodium, spores. So multiple fission aita. Then after that we learned fragmentation. Fragmentation. So which is an example for fragmentation? Can anyone tell me? Very good. Benela answered it. Spirogyra. Nandraj answered it. Then Karthik Alge. Okay. ಮತ್ತೆ ವೀರೇಶ್ ಶಿರೇಮಠ answered it. Mahantesh answered it. Good. So fragmentation, spirogyra aita. Next we have is budding. Next concept we have is budding. Okay, so here you can see the organism named as Hydra. Ille ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ? So this is an example of Hydra, what we can say. So here you can see Hydra. This is a structure. It is a tentacles. These are called tentacles. Okay, so here you can see a small structure which is coming out of the cell. ಇದು ಸೆಲ್ ಬೌಂಡ್ರಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೆಲ್ ಬೌಂಡ್ರಿ ಇಂದ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಆ ಸೆಲ್ ಬೌಂಡ್ರಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸೆಲ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಹೌದಾ, ಈ ಸೆಲ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದೇನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗ್ರೋ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅಗೇನ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗ್ರೋ ಇನ್ ಟು ಅ ಬೇಬಿ ಹೈಡ್ರಾ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಲುಕ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ಬಡ್. ಈಗ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಮೊಗ್ಗಿರತ್ತಲ್ವಾ, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಲುಕ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್ ಬಡ್, ಮೊಗ್ಗಿನ ತರ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಬಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್. So when it attains certain height, when this baby hydra get tentacles and it attains certain height and freedom and it becomes strong, then it detaches from the parent hydra. This is a parent hydra. Howda? So this will detach and it will live as an individual. So here also you can see a single parent. From a single parent, we got a baby hydra, right? So this is an example of budding, what we can say. Next, we have this yeast. Yeast is an example of fungi. What we can say, ಶಿಲೀಂಧ್ರಗಳು ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಫಂಗೈ. ಈ ಬ್ರೆಡ್ ತುಂಬಾ ದನ ಇಟ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬೂಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ರೈಸೋಬಸ್. That is also an example of fungi. Mushroom is example of fungi. Yeast is also an example of fungi. Specialization of yeast andre fungi usually multicellular. Fungi organisms are multicellular, means many celled. Yeast is only unicellular fungi. So which is an example of unicellular fungi? Yeast. It is the one and only unicellular fungi. So here you can see it has a cell, it has a nucleus, and from the cell membrane you can see the extension like this. See, like this extension happened. Again like this, a bud-like structure, and then this bud will separate. So this process, ಇದೇ ರೀತಿ continuous ಆಗಿ ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ. Okay, and they separate and they live as an individual. So this is an example of budding. So budding ಆಯ್ತು, fragmentation, fission, regeneration. Okay, then asexual reproduction ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ next we have is vegetative propagation. VEGE it is. Okay, vegetative means what? Vegetative parts. See, when you consider a plant, let me consider a plant. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ tell me the reproductive parts. Can you tell me the reproductive parts of the plant? Yes, my dear students. Which are the reproductive parts of the plants? Flower, very good. So in flower we have stamens, we have what we can say ovary and all. So the flower is a reproductive part. Other than flower, flower ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪಿಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬಹುದು, ಪೋಲನ್ ಗ್ರೇನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬಹುದು, ಓವರಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬಹುದು, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ reproductive parts. Other than flower we have this stem, we have this roots. Okay, so these are called as what? Vegetative parts of a plant. So some plants will grow by the vegetative parts. For example, rose plant. If you want rose plant, you can take, for example, if your friend has a very good rose plant at his home. So what you will do, you will ask the rose plant for me. What he will do, he will take a cut of a stem. He will cut a small stem out of that plant and give it to you. When you just sow it in the pot, your rose plant will bloom, will come. Right. So like this, see, in this plant, parts like root, stem, leaves develop into a new plant. Here, reproductive part is not involved. Flower is not involved. So here we will use layering. Here we will use grafting to grow plants. I guess we have the figure. See, this is a, on this also, potato also you can see like this. Okay, when you just cut this piece and you sow in the soil, you will get a potato plant. And here see, on the edges of the leaf, you got a small leaf-like structure. So these are called as buds. When these buds will fall in the soil, these will grow into a new plant. So these are what? Vegetative parts. Okay, these are vegetative parts. Money plant, ಎಲ್ಲರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇದು ಮನಿ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಅಂತ. ಕ್ಲೈಂಬರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್, ಬಳ್ಳಿ ತರ ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಮನಿ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಪ್ರೊಪಗೇಷನ್ ಆಕರ್ಸ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಕಟಿಂಗ್. ಅದರ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ನೀವು ಗ್ರೋ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಓಕೆ, ವಿತ್ ಅಟ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದ್ ಲೀಫ್ ಇರಬೇಕು ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ದೆನ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಅ ನ್ಯೂ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೊ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಲೇಯರಿಂಗ್. ವೆನ್ ಯು ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಎನಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್, ತೋಟಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದಾಗ, so when you see like this a stem, sometimes it will be covered by a plastic cover again with the soil. Soil ಇರತ್ತೆ, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಕವರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ನೋಡಿದೀರಾ? Anyone observed it? ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ತೋಟಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ಸ್ ಗಳಿಗೆ ಹಾಗೆ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ ಸಮ್ ಪಾಟ್ಸ್ ನರ್ಸರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋದಾಗ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಏನೋ ಕಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಬೈಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ದೆನ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ದ ಅದರ್ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್. ಈ ರೀತಿ ನೋಡಿದೀರಾ ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ? ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದೀರಾ? ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಟೆಲ್ ಮೀ? ಎಸ್, ಉಷಾ, ಪಲ್ಲವಿ, ದೆನ್ ಸುನೀತಾ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದೀರಾ? ಅಪೂರ್ವ, ಕಾವ್ಯ, ಓಕೆ, ರಾಜು ನಾಯಕ್, ರವಿರಾಜ್, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಡೂ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಇಟ್, ಓಕೆನಾ? ಜಯ, ಹೇಳಿ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದೀರಾ? ಯಾ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ನೀವ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದೆ. ಇನ್ ಅವರ್ ಹೌಸ್, ನಾಗರತ್ನ, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ವಿಲೇಜ್, ಉಮಾದೇವಿ, ಗುಡ್. ಇನ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್, ಮಂಜುಳಾ, ಗುಡ್. ನರ್ಸರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಯಾರು? ಪದ್ಮಾ ವೀರೇಶ್, ಸುಧಾಸೀನಾ, ಇನ್ ಮೈ ಹೌಸ್, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಸೊ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಗ್ರಾಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಗ್ರಾಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲೇಯರಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರೊಪಗೇಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಸಚ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಮೇಕ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಪಗೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ? ಬನಾನಾ, ಆರೆಂಜ್, ರೋಸ್, ಜಾಸ್ಮಿನ್, ಇವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಗ್ರಾಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಲೇಯರಿಂಗ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು? ಪ್ರೊಪಗೇಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅದರ ನಂಬರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಒನ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್, ಒಂದು ಮಹತ್ವ, ಒಂದು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಪ್ರೊಪಗೇಷನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಜೆನೆಟಿಕಲಿ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ ಟು ದ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್. You don't find any variations, any differences in vegetative propagation. But in hybridization, you can find the differences. But in vegetative propagation, it will be genetically same that of the parents, because other part ಅನ್ನ ನೀವು propagate ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ? So that is why. This is about vegetative propagation. So as I said, potato tuber has buds. So if you keep this potato for several days at your home, the buds will develop. Just take that section, adashtanne cut ಮಾಡಿ ಆ part ಅನ್ನ, sow it in a soil, the plant will grow if the soil conditions is good. Okay, then this is about vegetative propagation and asexual reproduction. Next we have is spore formation anta. Spore formation, usually we can see it in fungi, ಶಿಲೀಂಧ್ರಗಳು ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. In this we can see this spore formation. What happens? So in organisms called bread mold. What is this bread mold? Rhizopus, ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? So when you keep the bread outside for several days, you can see a black color spots on it. After that you can see a mesh, a spider web like mesh on it, which is nothing but our rhizopus. That is a fungi. Okay, this is a fungi. So how these will reproduce? Adana microscope alli ittu a slice of bread anna which is attacked by rhizopus. When you just see under microscope, it will look like this. So these all are the parts. Hyphae anta karitare ee parts ge. And here you can see sporangium. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಸಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಇವೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ sporangium. Sporangium means what? A bag which contains spores. So when these will burst out, these will open up, we will get the spores. Okay, so this is about the spore formation. So here also what happens? The spores, when they fall on another bread or any other material, when they get favorable condition, usually moisture ಇರಬೇಕು, ತೇವಾಂಶ ಇರಬೇಕು ಈ ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಸ್ ಜರ್ಮಿನೇಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಓಕೆನಾ? So when they will get a favorable conditions, they will grow into a new individual. So this is about what? Spore formation, what we call. See, like this. Okay, like this it will look, the bread. And in the microscope, it will look like this. Okay. Yeah. So this is about what? Asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction alli binary fission nodidvi, multiple fission, fragmentation, then we learned regeneration, spore formation, right? Next we have is the sexual reproduction. So what is this sexual reproduction? It occurs by the fusion of gametes. This you can see in higher organism. Okay. So here, due to the fusion of gametes, there will be a DNA copying ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Gametes formation ಆಗುವಾಗ DNA copying ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. During this DNA copying, information changes, protein changes, which will cause the variations. So variations are the advantages of sexual reproduction. You cannot find variations in asexual reproduction. Why? Because there we have single parent. Okay. So this is about sexual reproduction. Next, yeah. How the sexual reproduction occurs, how the sperms will be formed, how the ova will be formed. So that all we will learn in the next class. And after that, we are also going to learn regarding how sexual reproduction occurs in plants. Later, we are going to learn regarding sexual reproduction in animals. Okay. So as I got some throat infection, I'm unable to deliver or teach more content today. So that is why I am signing off 5 minutes before. So today we learnt about the introduction of reproduction and asexual reproduction and its type. Tomorrow we will discuss about sexual reproduction and sexual reproduction in plants as well as animals. Okay, please don't miss tomorrow's session. Fine. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.